All right. Well, once again, as usual, there has been a lot going on and a lot of different information coming at from different points of views, and a lot to take in. But there are a few things that I went through and picked out, things that really stood out to me personally, and then at the end we'll talk about kind of a big picture of what I think is going on in general right now. But first, I want to talk about the diversion program. Uh, Obviously, the diversion program was for Eric and Dylan to get back on the right track, but more specifically, I want to talk about Eric. Throughout the whole book, we've learned how he's deceitful and how he can charm people with his smile and get his way around, get his way or the highway, because he can manipulate you to agree with him. And I get that. I get that he's good at that. But what really stood out to me is when he did that to Andrea, however you say it, Sanchez, because this isn't some guy off the street or some girl off the street. This is a diversion program worker or psychiatrist, maybe even. So to be able to manipulate someone like that, that's the most impressive one that he's done yet, in my sense. And then following up to this is you can see how Eric is two-faced, because when he was persuading Andrea, he was saying all the good things, like everything's good at home. I got all my I got all my hours in for working for the community, and then he'll turn around and write in his journal the ugliest things. You see that also with the apology letter that he wrote to the man that the owner of the van that they broke into. His apology was so genuine on page 260. It was so genuine, and he said how violated he would feel if someone broke into his car, and how if he got in there, that's all he could think about. But then we turn on the same day. Fuselier says on the same day he wrote in his journal, if it's a free world, he should be able to do whatever he wants, and just because that stupid guy left his van out there, I shouldn't get penalized for doing it. Like, he was asking for it. Complete switch of emotions, and it's crazy. I think that's what a psychopath is, but it really comes out right here. You can see his two faces here. Moving on, I want to talk about what do we got here. Patrick, when he forgives Eric and Dylan, this blew my mind a little bit. I didn't see it coming. I did get the sense that Patrick was a nice guy, like leading up, and what Dave Cullen says and how he portrays him. But when this came up, I was shocked, because his mom, Kathy, was talking about how worried she was, like if he could ever find happiness out of this. And then once they start talking, Patrick says, "Please forgive them," and it says in the book, it says it took her breath away. I'm talking about Kathy, his mom, and then we see Kathy. The roles almost flip. Patrick is almost helping Kathy instead of Kathy helping Patrick, her son, and that was really interesting to me, because now I think he didn't go into it too much deeper than that, but I wonder how Kathy's point of view changed on Eric and Dylan, and also obviously Patrick. But I wonder if Kathy is going to try to emulate more of that empathy and more of Patrick's attitude towards it. So that was really interesting to me. And then the last thing I want to talk about is overall the culture of Columbine and Littleton. It has been a roller coaster for them. Obviously, it started out up until the shooting. It was fine. Like, it was just a high school, normal Littleton, Colorado. It was just a nice city. Obviously, the shooting, the tragedy happens, dips way down. Probably the lowest it's going to be, unless something ridiculous happens in the same town, which is unlikely. So that might have been the lowest point Littleton, Colorado will ever see. And then through the summer, it progressed. Like, time heals all wounds, they say. And maybe that was true for a little bit in Columbine's case. They were, throughout the summer, like, things were happening and it was looking good. So much so that when they reopened the school, they took one of the symbols that they had was when they raised the flag up to half mast, or from half mast to all the way up again. It was like the first time that they did that since the shooting happened, and that was a symbol of what they said in the book was that the mourning period was over. So we see them trying to climb back up that drought that they had when the shooting happened. So they're trying to see victory, and the shirts that they had, "We are Columbine. We are victorers, not victims." So the culture is starting to change back up. But then the 6-month anniversary comes around, and Eric and Dylan's friend threatens to finish the business, as it says, and then it dips back down again. 450 students didn't show up. So it's just been a roller coaster for Columbine and Littleton, and I think Dave really brought that out. I think it was interesting to see. So that is my reflection on these past chapters.